Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm going to be giving you part 9 of what if Naruto failed his Genin test and was given intense training. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Put Through Hell and Adopted by the Raikage over on Anime King 2 and enjoy that, guys. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking about to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Ayuba came back. As he told Naruto what happened. He didn't know how, but the Kira ninjas were aware of them. And they saw Osama and they tried to catch him for his bounty. And a battle ensued between them, Zabuza and his entourage along with the Kira envoys. And they were able to fight them off. But it was too late for Ino, it seems, as he sealed away the girl's body. She was dead. They made their way back to Konoha, as the mission was a failure at that. As everyone was silent, as they still couldn't believe that it was a reality. Naruto blamed himself, but Shikamaru even spoke to him and told him not to. If any one of them were there, they would have died. He was lucky enough to survive. As he got back to the village, as the three Genins gave their report to Ayuba, as Sakura invited Naruto to get something to eat. Sai bloated off as he made his way off, as he had something to do. Sasuke then came, as he wanted to fight Naruto, but Naruto was not in any state of mind to fight right now. He tried to taunt him, but they simply just went away, leaving Sasuke, as he got something to eat, as Sakura was afraid. As she told Naruto she felt like she was going to be the next one to die, as she was too weak. She was not even stronger than Ino. But Naruto told her no, that he would protect her until she gets strong enough so she can protect him. She felt a hope rise in her chest. Even if they have to get extra training, it doesn't matter. They will get stronger. Meanwhile, as Hiruzen, Osama, Kakashi, and Ayuba met up, Konoha seemed to be rotten to the very core, as it seems like things was set up to happen this way. And the main target was a civilian girl, Sakura, not the daughter of a clan head. Yes. As they want to make sure the other Genins train stronger, for them to train and push themselves to get stronger as well. And to keep a tighter hold on Naruto, to make sure the boys stay calm after reports that Hiruzen has been getting from Ayuba and even Kakashi about the boy. They were even willing to get Kabuto out of the picture because Naruto seemed to not react well to him, as everything was set to make sure Naruto is stable. But things didn't turn out well as they planned, as Osama was furious at that as Ino had died. He was told that he didn't even have to train them. He was told that it was just a show for the clan heads. As Hiruzen was plotting something, seems like Danzo was not the only dangerous person here. Time passed after that as training was increased. Sakura was being pushed, but she didn't mind as long as she gets stronger, but her body could barely keep up with it. Until a day when Ayuba started to act strange as he told him to follow him. The man was fidgety and moving and looking around strangely as he made their way to the IT department. He told Sai to stay out here as he made his way inside with Sakura. Sakura was shocked when she saw Naruto tied up to a chair, as she thought it was an illusion, but it was no illusion. Ayuba told her that Naruto was an enemy, and he was plotting with the Kira shinobis, and it was her job to get the information out of him. She was shocked to the core by that, as the man left her in there, not to kill him, but to get the information at any possible cause. Ino. She couldn't believe it. Naruto plotted for Ino to die. She kept on asking him, but the only thing he kept on repeating was his name and his code number. As Her body, her mind moved on instinct, picking up the tools as she forced the answers out of him, but he wouldn't say. She even went as far as to carve out one of his eyes, not even know what she was doing as she was already in too deep. As she told him to tell her, as she was torturing the information out of him, but he will not broke. He just kept on repeating his name and his serial number. It was then that Inoichi came in. As he did something, the next thing Sakura knew, she was in the interrogation room as Aoba stood there. She was confused, the both of them were left alone. Aoba told her that someone had transformed into him, as he wasn't with them the entire time. He came looking for them. The person must have told Naruto that this was a test to see if he will break and spill secrets about Konoha. So that is why he kept on repeating his name and his serial number. Sakura couldn't believe it as she started to breathe hard. So that was the real Naruto? And she tortured him? As Aoba told her everything that happened, as a person that came, and he went to speak to the gate guards, and then made his way to the Hokage. And he was told that he had checked into the IT department, but he did no such thing. As a person had meddled with her mind for her to torture Naruto, but to not kill him, as she couldn't believe that that was real. She started to cry, as she couldn't believe that she actually did that. As Inoichi had took Naruto to the hospital, the girl was on the ground shaking, as she couldn't believe it, as someone had impersonated Aoba and did all of this. So yeah guys, so basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So just to begin this new episode, the Kyuubi was moving a shogi piece on the board in front of him. He was unfazed by the boy floating outside of his cage, unresponsive. He then heard a groan. "Your race will not cease to amuse me," the Kyuubi said. "To make torture art. I am more merciful. I kill or I don't kill. There is never any in-between with me." "Screw off," said Naruto. "Will I get my eyesight back?" "Of course you will," the fox scoffed. "I trade flesh and bones and skin. You think an eye is something I cannot get back?" "Why is it that I'm afraid?" said Naruto, as he was just looking up at the darkness, as he could feel his entire body just unable to stay calm. "Because your race fears death and pain. Humans fear what they can't comprehend." "So you understand it?" said Naruto. "It's quite simple if you would just think about it. Death is the end. Pain is the road to the end. What else is there to say? What else is there to understand? To suffer is to walk the road of life. And then you will walk to the road of the end. And then it's no more." "Nothing more?" said Naruto. "Then why do people suffer to begin with? Why not just die and end it right there, so they won't feel any pain?" "To live without pain will make life itself meaningless," said the Kyuubi. "You cannot understand true happiness without suffering first. If you spend years sleeping on jagged rocks that poke you in your sleep, the mere act of waking up in a bed would be an enjoyment that soothes the soul, and it become nothing but bliss. So you're telling me that you have to suffer to enjoy life," said Naruto. "Yin and yang are balanced. Both evil and good exist in this world. But sometimes evil is far greater than good. But sometimes a small amount of good remains and tries its best to shine out the evil, but it's just too small. And then you would come around and save it," said Naruto. "That was my purpose," the Kyuubi said. "My reason to exist. To reap all malice and hatred. But then your race took it away from me. Take away flight from a bird and it will die. Take away the edge of a sword and it will be useless, because the user will discard it. We're both prisoners then," said Naruto. "But I can't let you destroy the people who are precious to me." "Oh? And what about those who aren't?" the fox said. "Would you let me out if I swore not to kill those that you value as friends?" "I will have to think about it," said Naruto. "But I have a question." "Amuse me with it then," the fox said. "You read minds, right?" "I do not read minds. I am made of malice and hatred. Thus, I am made of evil thoughts. Wickedness flows through me. Thus..." "You didn't talk," said Naruto as he cut him off. "When I was being tortured, you said nothing as Sakura attacked me. Why would I? There's a difference between thought of malice and one that is corrupted. Malice is hate that is corrupted and twists. But to torture you because you kill a friend, that is justice." "But it isn't the truth," said Naruto. "Well, that doesn't matter. What matters is a reason behind the action. To do evil without a intention to just cause pure havoc and chaos, that is malice." "So you can't read minds," said Naruto. "Maybe I can. And I'm only lying to you," said the Kyuubi. "You said that if you were to lie, I would lose all my trust in you," said Naruto. Maybe, but then again, you do listen, don't you? As long as there's an ear to whisper in, there's a hope. A hope for a better tomorrow. A hope for a peace. As Naruto remained quiet as he listened to those words, he then spoke. What was the Sage of Six Paths like? He was beyond comprehension, said Kurama. He was a force, but not of nature. If I was to explain it, I would say just like how the sun is a force of life. The Sage of Six Paths was a force of humans. He was the embodiment of all things humans could truly become. He was a being of compassion and strength, being of power that nurtured the earths, that walked it, but it will never walk it again. But if he were to come back and see this, he would probably exterminate all of your precious villages. Why? The time before him was of the warring states of the samurais. The shinobis were born from the countryside from the farmers, who wished to protect their homes, but could not fight head-on with the armor man. The chakra became their weapon, taught to them by the brightest of them all, the sage. He was a bright light of hope in all the wicked darkness. The rampaging demons were slaughtered by his advance. The samurais forced to retreat. In the end, he asked them to release the ideas of revenge, to use the shinobi art to help people and not kill them. The fox chuckled at that, but he was not heard. And from the war that followed, from the use of techniques from acts so deprived, the Kyuubi was born. A source of malice, of hatred and death beyond any others. And when the samurais, everyone was driven into a corner, when everything was about to end, the sage fought back. Despite everything, and despite them going along, and against his wishes, he still loved the humans. So he fought to protect them, and he won. The fox shook his head. He shouldn't have. The humans were just reaping what they have sowed. They deserve what they had caused. This was their punishment for diving into things that they could not comprehend. It was nature that came up against humans to fight them. And when he split us up, when he separated Kyuubi into 9 different beings, he called us Bijus. He entrusted us with tasks. He told us to steady our arms and seek peace with man. He told us to be guardians, not judges and executioners. And as the world found peace, we believed in our father, who couldn't be wrong. And then he died, the fox said. Better yet, he was killed by his own son. Kurama laughed. Ironic, right? He fought for humans, he bled for them, and he was killed by his own son, the oldest one, the one that he loved the most, who he entrusted with the power to control us. Couldn't accept that his father made a decision to name his second son the heir. Arrogance, pride, hatred, malice, blood, and thus the Uchihas and Senju clan were born. Both of them renounced their surname. They had refused to follow the ways of their father, and in the end they battled against one another, and they slaughter. And then to us they turn. We entered the battle. We fought, we bled, we were warped, we were twisted, and finally, we got trapped. Jinjulkis were born, and then we were given out as cattles. Cattles for peace. We were a cell, like slaves. Our freedom was used for your peace. We were enslaved, the Kyuubi roared, so that you could live in peace. As Naruto had to cover his ears because the fox was roaring too loud. As he calmed down, he laughed. There was no mirth in his voice. We were your guardians, but yet you made us your prisoners. So, do you still wonder why we're feared? How can there be peace between us and your race when your race treats us this way? I'm sorry. I don't need your excuse. It won't change anything right now. Your actions, on the other hand, they will change. As the Kyuubi eyes moved towards the wall, as there was nothing visible over there or important, he just looked towards it. This is what you should have listened to, he barked to the empty ear like he was talking to someone. This is what you refuse to listen to. Who's there? Said Naruto. No one important, Kurama said. Now wake up, Naruto Uzumaki. Wake up and show me what your future will be. And Naruto opened his eyes. Well, one of the two. The other one was covered by a large bandage. As he saw things moving in front of him, as his one eye didn't focus. They say a student always try to imitate their sensei. But did you really have to try and get wounded like me, Naruto? But I suppose in your case they won't scar, said Danzo as he came closer, as that made Naruto smile. I'll be up by tomorrow, sensei, Naruto said. His throat felt parched, and he felt a strange weight over to his left arm. I know, they did give you a 3 weeks prognosis, but knowing you, tomorrow, or even later, Danzo was even smiling, something that the man rarely do. However, as the smile disappeared and turned to a frown, I am disappointed in you, Naruto. You should have realized it was a trap the moment your teammates start to inflict career-ending wounds on your body. Sorry, said Naruto. Sorry isn't a good enough excuse, Danzo said. As he started to leave, we will be increasing your training in perception. You must see when someone is lying to you, Naruto. How are you going to be a shinobi when you can't see, when the enemy is lying right to your face? I understand, Sensei. Danzo nodded, and with that the man left. As Naruto remained there, quiet, until a weight on his left arm shifted slightly, as he wondered what the hell was that. As he then turned his head, only to see Sakura, as she used the side of his bed as a pillow. As Naruto's eyes went up towards the window, as it was night time, and the moon was raised. As the girl slowly opened her eyes. Naruto? Hey, he said. Tears instantly leaked from her eyes as she leaped forward and hugged him tight. Meanwhile, in the woods somewhere in the darkness, a voice spoke. Orochimaru-sama, we await further instructions. Time skip. Hiruzen was pissed as he stood in front of the source of his discomfort, namely Danzo. Danzo was perplexed only for a second, this late at night. It was either an important discussion or assassination attempt. If it was an assassination attempt, Hiruzen wouldn't be dressed in his Hokage robes, unless this was a clone and the real one was preparing to strike at any moment. Such a visit is late at night, Hokage-sama, he said, his gaze firm. Is there something I could... Danzo was slammed against the wall as a second Hiruzen appeared, holding a kunai right to Danzo's throat as he was dressed in the battle armor to enter the torture and integration department. One needs a code to get through the security checkpoint. Secret Anfu hand signs are required prior and afterward as well to ensure who enter and leave are exactly who they claim to be. Aoba checked in, but Aoba isn't a culprit. So tell me, Danzo, who could know all of that? Hiruzen asks. And if it isn't you, then you better give me more than just a single alibi. I know who did it. And you know it too, said Danzo. As Hiruzen narrowed his eyes, Hiruzen stepped back, removing the kunai. No one is supposed to know. They were supposed to take part in a silent graduation, train to be Chunins, and then maybe set on the course for Anvus. The attack reek of you, Danzo. The other Hokage poofed away, as that was just a clone. As Hiruzen put away the kunai, then again you would have acted less subtly to ensure the fault would be on someone else. As it is, you could have easily made us doubt Inoichi Yamanaka for what happened to his daughter. This would be a clear motive. Well, it seemed like someone has it set against the Yamanaka clan. Or maybe you, said Danzo. They can't really expect me to let Naruto team participate fully in the exam for Chunins. I'll just postpone their graduations, Hiruzen said. There isn't a need to let them reach the final part of the Chunin exams. But maybe that isn't the purpose, said Danzo. Maybe the purpose is, well, a different reason. Maybe it has to do with postponing his Chunin exam graduation. Hiruzen narrowed his eyes. The only reason would be that someone doesn't want Naruto to advance in rank so he can learn certain techniques. And that level of cunningness is only tied to one person, Hiruzen, said Danzo. And if it is the person I'm thinking about, then this is dangerous. So I either let them participate to promote Naruto, or I don't. And I see him win. He learned from me. I taught him almost everything I know. Why did it have to be Orochimaru who learned from me the most? Why couldn't it have been Jiraiya? Danzo frowned. Will he come back for the exams? He will, or I will force him, said Hiruzen. Can I count on Root to do their job? And not just undermine my own shinobi's authorities? When has Danzo, Hiruzen said. The time for petty games ended the moment Orochimaru entered the picture. You know him, I know him. He learned from us both. He learned from Anvu and Root while patrols may have changed. He know how to see them with a single eye glance. He know the inside and out of Konoha. Danzo nodded as Hiruzen kept on talking. He will destroy Konoha, Danzo. You know that, and I know that. Mizuki was one of his men. Orochimaru's aim was to destabilize Jinchuriki, because he knew with that amount of power, Naruto could destabilize most of his plans. Well, sheer power does that even to people that are rather cunning. When you have enough power, you can trump anything they throw at you. Even if you're smart, said Danzo. Well then, you could always let me adopt him, said Hiruzen. You know that won't come to pass. I have barely been able to manage the uproar that come with you training him on a daily basis. Do you think they will let a full adoption come to pass? Well, if you were to tell me who is against this, of me adopting him, and their reason, I could end it, Danzo said. No, you already done enough with Naruto to last a lifetime. Luckily, some things you'll never be able to take away from him no matter what you do. You went to visit him as well? Yes. And he was fine. He thought it was a test. They were testing his mental stability to see if he would crack, when it was just a plan to torture him, said Danzo. You seem to forget what his dream is, Hiruzen said. You realize dreams change within time, said Danzo, as he chuckled slightly. And reality always shows us that some dreams are just unattainable. Hiruzen took a breath. The Chunin exams will be tough, he said. How will you place the teams? The usual shows will have to be avoided. I can't, not without showing weakness to the clans. I already failed once to protect one of their ears, and as Danzo interrupted, that Inuichi didn't have a spear tucked away. How stupid could he be? To make his only chance of preserving his family line as shinobi, and he didn't even train her properly. The fault is on him. He did, but he went soft on her apparently, said Hiruzen. Danzo looked towards the wall as it was 3 in the morning, and given that Hiruzen wanted to talk, this was gonna take a while. Sit down, Hiruzen, I'll make some tea. We'll be talking for all night, I suppose. I'll help, Hiruzen said. I should apologize for nearly killing you. Don't sugarcoat words, Hiruzen. You realize I had the 4 inverted seals on my chest. When you pinned me to the wall, that is why you stopped. Hiruzen simply chuckled. I can never hide anything from you, my old friend, he said. When was it, do you think, that we stopped usually talking, and we need the threat of our impending doom for us to be civil? I think it was sometime after Tobirama Sensei's death. I see, said Danzo. So you checking for poison in the tea leaves? They know I'm here, Hiruzen said. Oh well, said Danzo. In 5 minutes, poison, free. Tea was in front of them, as they sat between a table. The hot teapot. Kakashi team is out, Hiruzen spoke. They suffer a training accident, while Kiba might be viable, as well as Ami. Sasuke won't be able to be combat ready for at least 2 months. The Hatake was always one for dramatics. He did it on purpose, didn't he? I think he wanted to show Sasuke humility. Humility, said Danzo. Bitter pill to swallow. I remember you were also that way before you got humility beaten into you. We will see if it earned him some improvement in his character-wise. He did activate the Sharingan, however. Apparently, the trauma was strong enough. Good, said Danzo, but he then frowned slightly. We don't need to fill in Yamanaka Inu's spot, but we could move the 100-year-old Genin. We could place the Inuzaka in that place, and have that team pass without trouble. Kurenai's team will participate as well. However, since they have the Hyuga heiress, and Orochimaru might target her, my operative can be moved to their team. The civilian can be removed from the team, said Danzo. No, Hiruzen said. If Orochimaru aims as Naruto, he will need whatever teammate he can to work with him. Until the envoys arrive, Kasuke can move into Kurenai's team in replacement of Hibachi. And if Orochimaru's aim is truly Naruto, he cannot have his teammates with him, said Danzo. Think about it, Hiruzen. He will break the boy as an objective. That is clear. Do you want to see the Kyuubi appear in the middle of Konoha? Well then, keep the boy and his teammates separated as much as possible, because Orochimaru will use them. Make it look like a fallout somehow. Order them to act like they are no longer together. This is as much for Naruto's safety as is it for theirs. Are you actually caring about the boy, Danzo? Hiruzen asked to raise eyebrow. He is a Jinjulki of the Kyuubi. Hiruzen. The only reason Kumo did not attack us after the 90th attack was because we lied and told the world that our Jinjulki was the strongest and a full-grown adult. We had Orochimaru pass off as a new Jinjulki. We had him develop that blasted seal so he could better play the part. We cut him off when he started losing sanity, but we are the ones responsible for that. You do care, Hiruzen said. For Konoha, I think, but you do care. Of course I care, said Danzo. We are not discussing a random shinobi. The loss of the Kyuubi, the loss of a Jinjulki, it would mean death for Konoha. We would be destroyed. Without an equally strong power, without a Jinjulki to prevent total war, we would be destroyed. The stone would fall on us. Kumo would prey on us. We wouldn't survive. We only survive because we have the strongest Jinjulki, and no one wants to battle him. But should we lose him, however, What if that was his purpose? To keep boys separated from his teammates. Then at the very least, we have the envoy shadow them. That would draw too much attention, Hiruzen said. We have to trust them with the mission. So, if we get both civilians to Naruto, we can move Sai to Kurenai's team. Kiba will be planted with Asuma. That leaves us with Sakura Haruno and Kasuke Mirabashi. The girl can be suffering from the stress of what happened and be unable to take the exam, said Danzo. However, wasting Kasuke's skills like that, I think we should leave Sakura out and have Kasuke take the place of Hibachi-kun. There's a bit of history between him and Naruto after all. Alright, we can do it that way, but what if the other civilians do not wish to participate? Hiruzen's face darkened a bit. Then we will force her. You know, you could just give Naruto a private promotion. The fact that you haven't even spoken about that. What are you planning, Hiruzen? To end this once and for all. Orochimaru has to be stopped. This is the one and only chance. When you dangle a piece of bait to catch a mackerel, you should be careful, Hiruzen, that you don't get a shark. Because if you do the rod, it will break. You should retire, Danzo. The moment you start to use fishing metaphors, it's a giveaway of old age. The both of them share a chuckle. It was rather hollow, had no real laughter, and no emotion within. It was like they did so because of habit, not because they enjoyed the small banter. So, Aoba team will be composed of Naruto, the civilian girl, and Kasuke. We should bring Kasuke in on the plan. He won't accept it, said Danzo. We are doing no better than using Naruto as bait after all. Considering how hard he is still taking the loss of his teammates. Hiruzen nodded. I will brief the team tomorrow. At the same time at the hospital, it was silence. Embarrassing silence. Something must be rather interesting on the floor as Sakura was looking down. Instead of looking at Naruto, I'm sorry, she said. How are you? I'm fine, he says. He looked at her. So, they actually asked you to torture me. You know, you got talents, he said with the words. Stop that, she said. You're not Sai. Stop fake smiling like that. It creeped me out. You should be screaming at me. Why aren't you? Be angry. Naruto, being angry never works, said Naruto. Being angry, yelling, ranting, screaming, it never works, he said. People don't listen. They simply avert their gazes. They don't see you. They ignore you. It makes you start to wonder if you're invisible. You know, the Kyuubi's right. People just don't want to listen. The Kyuubi? Said Sakura. Naruto, you spoke with it? I did, he said. I was in a sewer. The pain was so much I fainted. Sakura lowered her head hearing that as tears started to fall from her eyes. And I end up in front of a sewer. The fox told me some stuff and I listened to him. But it's not important. Naruto, said Sakura. I should leave the team. Why? Said Naruto. Why? Come on, Naruto, how can you ask me why? I did this. I'm the reason you're in a hospital bed. I'm the reason you failed and met the Kyuubi. I'm the one at fault here. Why aren't you angry at me? Why are you so forgiving? I'm not worthy of that. I'm not. Sakura, he said. You did what they asked you to do. And plus, you're my friend. Don't friends forgive each other, he said. Friends, don't torture each other, she said, as tears flowed to her eyes, as she cried silently. Naruto was embarrassed. He had no idea what to do. He lost consciousness the moment she had hit him in the hand, when he felt that pain, so... He was alright now, and the Kyuubi had completely healed him up. He was pretty sure he could leave the hospital in the next hour. It's fine, said Naruto. I'm as good as new. You don't have to blame yourself. Naruto, she said slowly. Would you have done the same in my position? Would you have tortured me if the roles were reversed? No, he said. But that makes me a horrible shinobi, you know? Shinobi should carry out their orders, always. You did the right thing, Sakura. Sakura chuckled. It was a bitter chuckle, filled with loathing and anger at oneself. Naruto, I can't forgive myself. I can't excuse myself what I did to you. There's no excuse. There's no way you can forgive me like this. No, I can't. It's wrong. Please, don't. But I do, said Naruto. I do because... He frowned. He nodded, reassuring himself. Because someone has to. If I don't forgive you, if I keep on being angry at you, then we will both suffer in the end. You aren't at fault. You learn from this, right? You won't do it again. And that... Sakura ran out of the room before he could finish, as she was crying the entire time. She didn't even stop to close the door as she was a sobbing wreck. As Naruto leaned back, she ran away. The next morning, as he thought he was fine, as Aoba had brought him a change of clothes, and as he stepped out of the hospital, he took in a deep breath. Sensei, what happens? Naruto said. What happens now? First off, Ayuba said, we have developed a passcode. He gestured for Naruto to follow him as he started to walk up the wall of a nearby building. When we meet, you must bring your right hand up to remove dust from your left shoulder. The hello should be hey guys, which the other should answer, you're late. If this doesn't check, then observe and stall. Understood, Sensei, said Naruto. Good. As they sped through the rooftops. As Naruto noticed Ayuba was keeping an eye on him. Was he watching him? Because he think he was lying about his physical condition. Are you alright? Ayuba said as they neared Hokage's tower. You don't have to force yourself, he said. If you don't want to see Sakura, she was the first to want to make sure that... I'm fine, said Naruto. Why are you all making this some sort of big deal? I forgave her last night. Naruto, did Sakura tell you that it wasn't a test, but someone trying to psychologically break apart the team? She didn't, said Naruto. But it doesn't change anything. What's done is done, right? I don't know, Ayuba said as he came to a stop. I mean, these sort of things. As Naruto stopped as well, you know, I'll tell you a story. As he crossed his arms, as he looked directly at Naruto's eyes. How the Kyuubi managed to regenerate Naruto's eye to perfection was something Ayuba could not even comprehend. The eye was an extremely delicate organ, and yet it only took a night of sleep to regenerate it back to fully functionality. Captured shinobi were usually forced to torture one another for them to break each other. You torture someone amongst your teammates and you could live another day. In the end, people broke because of the trust they gave to each other was torn apart by them torturing each other. You think you're fine, but you can't be. Sensei, said Naruto as his gaze looked rather tired, like someone who has experienced a lot. What do you want me to say? I am tired of yelling. I am tired of screaming. What should I say? That sorry doesn't cut it. That excuses should never be pronounced to begin with. I made a mistake once and I was forgiven. With poison. His hand went through his dark black hair. I even have to dye my hair so I won't get noticed in the streets. I take to the alleys and the rooftops. I avoid the general population. I do what I can, but yet it's never enough, is it? So what do you want from me? This is just one of the other shitty cards given to me. And many more to come. Because I'm sure that this is not the last one. So you want to know the reason why I'm fine? Why it doesn't bother me anymore? It's because I just don't care anymore, said Naruto. I was always alone. Always the one left. Always isolated. I scream, I cried at them, I yell. It didn't work. Nothing worked. No matter what I did, I was ignored. And when I did something really over the edge, they yell at me. But at least for a few minutes, they look at me. But then, they went back to ignoring me. Words mean nothing to me. I killed the only father figure I could have hoped to had. It was a mistake. They told me it was an accident. They told me the kind of pain, the jagged edge, all of it was an accident. The other one, the wounded one, they told me it couldn't be my fault. That a shinobi had passed by to save me. And that is normal. When you go through a shock, you did not remember. But I remember. I was the one that pulled a prank. And the other man threw a fist at me and took his hand, came in the way. He stepped between us. I remember him getting hit. The can of paint that I had, the edge was jagged. And he fell. And it hit right on his neck. I remember everything. It was me. Me pulling a prank that caused his death. Tell me, what can you tell to a daughter who already lost her mother and then had to lose her father? I'm sorry. I am sorry. 3 words? Do people expect 3 words to heal all wounds or something like that? Do they really think that it will work? What about the pain the other person suffered because of you? Why even ask for forgiveness? It's easy, so easy to say I'm sorry. It's easy to mean it, but is it worth it? Does it change anything? As he closed his eyes for a moment, I don't know if it's even worth it. I went to the funeral. The others, they kept me out. I endured. I told myself, I would say I'm sorry to Ayam. I at least owe her that. And you know what? I went to her and say, I'm sorry. And I remember what she answered back. That won't bring my father back, demon. A single tear ran down her cheek as he spoke about the event. And she was right, you know. Tuki didn't just magically appear because I said I was sorry. Nothing changed. He still died. He's still dead. Then one day, she saw me walking past and called my name. She had grieved. She had calmed down. And she apologized. Was that when she decided to have revenge? To get rid of me. To poison me. Her words of forgiveness were the only lies. But I'll never know. She's dead after all. Isn't she? Said Naruto. As Ayuba took a step forward. Naruto. Accidents. Accidents what? Said Naruto, cutting him off. It was a mistake. You couldn't know that it would end like this. This isn't your fault. Don't apologize, said Naruto. Those words. What could they do? They mean absolutely nothing. You can scream them to the heavens. You can yell them. You can rant to the sky. You can pray on them. I'm sorry, I'm the goddamn Jinjulki of the Kyuubi Konoha. So please stop messing with my life. And what? Nothing happens. Do you know how many times I asked why? And the third lied to me. Do you know how many times I begged someone? Begged for them to tell me why? What was different about me? What I had that made them glare at me? That made them hate me so much? You know what they said? They told me to ask the third. And when I asked him, you know what he said? It's nothing, Naruto. Some people are just like that. Fantastic. Fantastic, he screamed. The people of Konoha are wonderful. But I suppose I should not hate them. Because they're just ignorant fools, right? Imbeciles that don't know any better. And you know what? I don't even care about what Sakura did. I expected this. Because deep down I know that I would pay for my crimes and we. My crime of being alive and breathing while Ino isn't. I suppose this is all there was. So tell me, Sensei. Do you want to ask if I'm fine again? Naruto asked. This, the Kyuubi said, is better than playing shogi. Screw off, he snarled back at the Kyuubi. So what now, said Naruto. We're going to the psychiatric help. No. We're going to take our mission and forget this happened, Aoba said. Naruto frowned. Shouldn't you be questioning my judgment or something? You see, I do not know about other teachers, but I take the trust of my students with extreme care. Do you believe that you need any help? Naruto simply snorted. Then there's nothing I can do, except worsen your situation. So, the Hokage Tower then? Yeah, Lex, Aoba said, as they made their way off, in awkward silence. As they arrived, Naruto remembered. Hey guys, he said, as he did a gesture on his shoulder. You're late, Sakura said, before she turned her gaze away. Dickless, said Sai, as Naruto turned towards him. Sai, how are you today? I heard that Cherry can actually hurt people. I'm surprised, said Sai. Sakura flinched a bit at his words, but said nothing. Now let's talk about something else, alright, said Naruto. The Chunin exam, said Sai. They're coming up. Will we go and watch Chunin exams? When, said Naruto. In 2 weeks. They are being held in Konoha this year. Sensei, said Naruto. Will we go? Said Naruto. Well, why don't you ask your team leader? I was thinking on increasing the trust part of your team since recent events. So just think of me as an observer. You want to train, ask your team leader. You want to do missions, ask your team leader. I'll be here to watch you. Sakura. As Naruto looked at her, without any anger or distaste, and it made her angry. How could he just accept everything that happened to him and just forgive her? She should be happy that he forgive her. But after what she did, it shouldn't be so easy. She expected him to attack her, to yell at her, but he did not. He accepted her excuses and looking at her calmly, like it didn't matter that she took out his eye. She hadn't even managed to sleep the night before. And she got angry and lashed out at her parents when she had came home. When she was crying in shock. And they wanted to calm her down, but her mind was just unfocused. How could he couldn't be that saintful, right? And if he actually forgive her like that, then what has he been living through? To consider torture nothing to sweat over. As she just felt wrong on so many levels that he would just forgive her so easily. He raised the eyebrow and looked at her. He should be angry, not puzzled. Cherry. Yes, she said. She's not brain dead, said Sai. Nor is she rotting. What do you think? I'm a zombie? She snapped back. Your face does look... Bam! Sakura punched Sai right in the ground. As Naruto simply chuckled at that, somehow hearing him laugh like that warmed her heart. It felt so honest, that laughter. They reached for the mission office, but the secretary diverted them towards the Hokage private office. As Aoba tensed a bit, as they made their way inside, they weren't alone. Danzo Shinobi rose inside, as he was sitting in a chair, to the wall to the Hokage. Naruto was surprised to see Danzo here, as Hiruzen seemed rather serious as the man spoke. We will be splitting your team up, the Hokage words. Split through the air like a sword. Sakura gaze widened. Sai remained his usual impassive self, while Naruto just watched on silent as Aoba stiffened a bit. As Aoba gave off the envelope sign to the Hokage to say no. I understand the split up is what everyone wanted. No, Hokage-sama, said Aoba, as he had to make sure that Naruto remained with his team no matter what, as he spoke before Danzo could get a word in. Maybe he would die one day in his sleep because of this, but he had to make sure Naruto stayed with his team. They have already processed the events, and they are once more ready for duty, in less than 1 day. Are you sure, Aoba-san? Hiruzen said, his eyes narrowed on Aoba. I would wager my life on it, Aoba said. Hiruzen sighed as he stood up, placed his hands behind him. Aoba could see a small conversation going on between Danzo and Hiruzen. They weren't verbally speaking, but their movements and their hand signs that were Simple twitches of their hands. Very well, in that case, there's a mission I must entrust to you. He picked up a scroll and handed it to Yuba. It's a C rank that must be completed and returned in 2 weeks. The sudden implication that they got was clear. The end result that Yuba saw was even worse. If they did complete the mission, they would end up right in June exams. If they did not, the team would be disbanded, and you'd probably be the only Jonin that was assigned to clean the bathroom of the Hokage's tower. After all, he wagered his life on it. He nodded once. We will be in the time span, he said. He read the mission title once more, just to be sure that he did so perfectly. Retrieval and escort to Konoha, Monk, Sora, from Fire Temple. He turned to leave, gesturing for his team to follow him. The Fire Temple was just 2 days away from the village. They could make it with ease, and the time was probably to give them more time to train for the upcoming Chunin exams. As they left and the doors closed, Hiruzen looked at Danzo with a disarming smile. It appears that we were stone wall. Danzo breathed slowly, as his only eye narrowed on Hiruzen. Why? Because I have little doubt that the root members, looking over Sakura Haruna family, are there because they enjoy the scent of bread, Hiruzen said. I just needed confirmation that you actually wanted 3 of them to be separated. So, divide and conquer, right, Danzo? That was the only logical thing to do against Orochimaru, Hiruzen said Danzo. That is if Orochimaru is the actual culprit. What would it take for Inoichi to successfully pass off as Aoba, seeing that he does the yearly check on every Jonin care for potential psychological damage or planning? Well, Danzo says he got to his feet. As pointless as our talk last night was, I wonder, were we too hasty in releasing your so-called allies from the list? I trust each of them without a doubt, Hiruzen said. Oh, I'm sure. Trust though. That is not something you should give so lightly, said Danzo. You don't trust it all, do you? Well, I have paperwork to do, Danzo. And I have molds to find, said Danzo as he left. Time skip. Leaving Konoha behind was rather easy, as the walls were now out of scene range. As Naruto's eyes were at his sensei's back, he couldn't understand why the Hokage wanted to split the team. And he couldn't understand why his sensei went against it. The Hokage said the word so easily. Someone didn't want to be a part of the team. Well, it could be Sakura, but he saw the look on her face when their sensei stopped that request. It was relief, like she wanted to stay a part of the team. But to Stonewall, the leader of Konoha, Naruto started to respect Aoba sensei more and more. The Kyuubi remained silent, even as they camped for the night. As they created the fire, he didn't say a single word. We're getting to the chilly nights of September, Aoba said. Cover yourself when you sleep, but not too much. If you sweat during the night, you will catch something in the morning. Now, water, food, everything checks out. You don't have to baby us, sensei, said Sakura. We have everything. You told us to always keep a backpack ready, right? Aoba smiled slightly. That I did, as he chuckled a bit. Well done, he said. I'll take the last watch. Naruto, you can have the first watch. Sakura, take the second. Sai, take the third. Naruto nodded as he made his way towards the nearest tree and climbed up on it. As he perched on the tree, the first shift was always the easiest one. After a few seconds, he heard the bushes ruffle behind him. As Sai appeared on the branch, his gaze fixed on Naruto. Dickless, we need to talk. Naruto raised eyebrow at that. Sure, about what? Us, said Sai. As Naruto blinked once. Listen, Sai. While I'm sure we're pretty good teammates, I don't dickless. Us as a team, said Sai. As Naruto chuckled lightly. Oh, I see. Then what about us, he said. You trust Cherry again, he asked. Yeah. Well, yeah. Why not, he said. Liar, said Sai. That's not... Maybe it is, Naruto said. But it's difficult to discuss. Dickless, said Sai. I know you're a limp dick. But impotency is not an excuse. You know he's perfectly fine, said Naruto. What? You name it, said Sai. What type of discussion is this, said Naruto? We're talking about dickless or dickheads. Or are we talking about something else, said Sai. No, I just want to make sure I wasn't dreaming all of this. Is there something else you want to talk about? You know, just lead me to my post and do my nightly watch. As Sai narrowed his eyes. Is this friendly banter, he asked. I think so, said Naruto. It's nice, said Sai. Feels warm. Don't fall for me though, said Naruto. I'm not on the other side of Konoha. Sai raised an eyebrow. I'm not falling for you. I'm standing on a branch, I think. As he looked at his feet. Yes. And you don't live far from me, he said. Really? Where do you live? Right in front of your apartment, said Sai. Sorry I didn't realize it, said Naruto. We could have gone home together. Sai shuffled a bit further away from Naruto. Are you sure that you're not gay, Dickless? No, of course. You know what? No more sappy talks at night, said Naruto. Deal? Deal, said Sai. What are you two talking about? Sakura's voice cut in. Her voice was filled with uncertainty as she climbed up on a nearby branch. As she sat down, swinging her legs. As Sai turned towards her, Before Naruto could answer, Sai took the cue. Dix. Sakura eyes widened. Naruto, all ignore Sai, she said. Well, we were kind of making friendly banter. On that? As she blushed slightly. Is that something guys talk about? Guys only, she said, or only you guys? We were talking about cherries too, said Sai. As Naruto's brain snapped what Sai said. As cherry was a reference to Sakura. And if Sai was talking about, could he mean? Sakura instantly got it though. Pervert, as she slammed her fist into Sai's face. Then she turned on Naruto as he flinched, bringing up his arms to cover his face. But no hit came. He slowly opened his right eye, then his left. Sakura was there breathing deeply. You were talking about me, right? She whispered. Yeah, said Naruto as he nodded. Really? As Sai crawled up at the branch. Sai, you need to learn to talk to people without those double meanings. So what about me, she said. You weren't talking about peeping on me, right? No, we would never do that, Sakura, said Naruto. There's not much to see anyway, said Sai. Sai, do you want your paintbrush? But the sun doesn't shine, asked Sakura. Sai blinked. I didn't know that you were kinky. Kinky cherry. Seems like... Sakura eyebrow twitched. Sai, why don't you go to bed? You got your watch turn coming up soon. Doing it with broken bones. Isn't that smart? Yes, Kink. As Sakura licked him out of the tree, he flipped as he landed on his legs. He didn't mean anything, said Naruto. You know how he is. Yeah, I know, she said. Hey, Naruto. What were you talking about? Really, this time? Us, said Naruto. A small blush came in her face. As a team, said Naruto, as she glared at him. You did that on purpose. Sai is rubbing off on you. Kinky. As Sai, words came out of his lips before he could stop them, as her face turned rather red. As Naruto simply laughed at that. Speak about this to anyone, and I swear, I'll make you pay in hell, she said. She then reached forward and hugged him, as she brought his face down on her shoulder as she held him there for a moment. There, she said. Now we're even. As he was now blushing, as she jumped down. Let it be said Naruto to no one in particular. This team is awesome. The Kyuubi snorted but remained quiet. The fox ears then twitched. Ah, so that is how it is. Very well. Very well, he said, as he seemed to be thinking about something. Time skip, the monastery. Monks were all around. As they arrived during morning prayers, Aoba gestured for them to wait until the prayers were done. Once it was over, a bald man with thick eyebrows, he had a sash with a land of fire on his waist, the symbol. Next to him was a young boy with his right arm covered by thick gauze and secured, like he had broken it. Dull, bluish-gray hair with a single lock falling down into his eye. As Naruto locked eyes with the boy for a moment, he felt his stomach tighten a bit. So there it went, the fox said. I thought I lacked something somewhere. Naruto frowned. What went where? Something of mine. Once again stolen by your race, the Kyuubi said. Still I wonder. No, you wouldn't, would you? The boy has a piece of me within himself. Not all of it, but certainly some. Naruto's eyes widened. Look at his arm, said Kurama. It's concentrated there. It's tiny, but the amount of power, it's there. And it is calling to me. But I know you. You wouldn't reunite us, would you? Not if the cost was to be the boy's life. And this here is Naruto. He usually has his heads between the clouds. Sakura introduced the both of them. Hello, said Sora, as he bowed his head slightly, as Naruto did the same thing. Hello, he said. What happened with the arm? Nothing that concerned you, Shinobi, Sora said. Sorry, said Naruto. Well, we should get going, Aoba said. We have a long way to go. As Sora nodded towards the head monk, as they made their way off. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want the next part to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in social media platform. But more for now, see you guys soon. Peace.